Welcome to the JP8 Report. This is James Pierce with the JP8 Report with a 2026 election interview with Bell County Justice of Peace Precinct 2, Buddy Schwab. And thank you very much for coming in for our interview today. Before we get started, I need to remind people, if you're watching the JP8 Report, please click that follow button and click the like button, and please share, because I'm pretty sure he would like for you to share the podcast out. All right, and this will be on video demand, so you don't have to watch it live. You can just keep watching it over and over and over and over again if you want. All right, so welcome to my podcast.
Thank you for having me.
It's a long drive from Salado.
Not too bad.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about Buddy.
Well, again, thank you for having me. I'll look forward to this. So, Buddy. Buddy is married to Teresa. That's very important. And Teresa and I, we left the big city in 2014, found our way, ended up in Salado, could not live in Austin anymore. So we moved to Salado. And we have our own brokerage that's on Main Street in Salado. We have an office there. We buy and sell real estate, and we have a property management company as well. And we're involved in our church. We're involved in community issues. We're involved in community projects, and we just like doing our life there, and there in Salado. That's what we do. But we have 5 kids, and they're all adults, and it's nothing better than having adult children.
Well, sometimes they don't come back.
That's right. Yeah.
We still got one that lives here.
Yeah. Well, we're children free right now. We get to decide when we want to go see the grandkids, and we decide a lot more if we had the time.
All right, so we're going to go through our questions now for you. It says, what specific legal, law enforcement, or administrative experience do you have that best qualifies you to manage a high volume docket, including evictions and small claims?
Okay. Well, so that's one of the things I like to talk about with JPs. It's the JP court is your people's court. It's not a criminal court. We're not doing criminal cases that are we're sentencing people to jail. That's not what the JP court does. The JP court handles, like you said, things such as eviction, tenant-landlord disputes, handles small claims up to $20,000 and things of that nature, and Class C misdemeanors, which is a $500 fine or less. So it's not like they're hardened criminals. Now, I think for this job you have to know some of the law, which I was a certified peace officer in the state of Texas. I work for a department that's just a little south of here in a fairly large city. I spent time in the jail. I spent time in administration, our personnel, and I know about the law. As far as the administration stuff and the small claims, you're talking about dealing up to $20,000 small claims court. This is, and I like to use the example, if your neighbor's fence falls, or your neighbor's tree falls down and hits your fence, who's paying for it, y'all can't come to a conclusion. Y'all need to settle it. That's what it is. It's up to $20,000. Now, as a realtor, again, my wife and I, we own a brokerage in Salado. We negotiate things more than $20,000 every day, and that's all negotiation. I think that's a lot of what the JP does as well, is to get to people to come to a common ground and see eye to eye, which I'm very experienced in that because that's what I do every day. Also, with our property management company, you start here and you get here where people have to be evicted, but you didn't start here. There's a long process to get there. We have evicted people. I know what that's like. I don't like to do it, and nobody wants to be evicted. But if you can find some common ground and avoid that point, I think that's where you try to be, and that's something that I think we could work on too.
Well, how do you view the role of the Justice of Peace in serving the community, particularly for citizens navigating the court without an attorney?
Well, that's really important. First off, JP by nature, you're a witness for the community. That's what you're doing. That's why you can do weddings and why you show up in the event of death. You are there as a more or less a witness for the community. And I think that needs to be more transparent. I mean, you should be able to tell people if they ask, "Hey, who's your JP?" You should be able to tell them because they should be out in the community. So I think that's important, and also as far as being a witness to everything, and people that are underserved, maybe who don't have the legal background, that they need to know they have options. And they should, when they navigate those options, again, in the JP court, we're talking something like that. It might be because they ran a stop sign. We're not going to necessarily have a court-appointed lawyer for that, but they need to know they do have options. And if they're going to want to fight the case, they need to be rest assured. If you fight this case, you're going to be fighting an attorney. Are you prepared to do that? If not, you probably ought to grab an attorney or pay the fine.
Class C misdemeanor minus less than 500.
500, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that's less than an attorney.
Yeah, less than an attorney. Yeah. How will you ensure fairness and impartiality when deciding civil cases up to $20,000?
So that's easy because there's three things. There's the right way, a wrong way, and there's in the middle. There's my story, there's their story, and the middle story. So I think you need to be able to listen to all the facts, and they should present themselves. But I think the key part of the JP job is listening. It isn't up there to judge necessarily they're wrong or he's wrong. It's to listen to the facts on both sides. And I think if you're doing that, I think everyone should be able to come to the common ground and say, okay, this is right, this is wrong. So That's easy enough.
And then just so people know that about 6 years ago, it did go up from 10,000 to 20,000 for small claims.
Yeah, I mean, and 20,000 isn't chump change. Don't get me wrong, but there's another court for that, so higher. So
with the growing population in Bell County, landlord-tenant disputes are increasing. We were just talking about that once. Yeah. What is your approach to handling these cases fairly to both parties?
Well, like I said before, I think we really got to have open dialogue. Again, I've been through eviction court. It's nobody wins in eviction court. Seriously, nobody really wins in eviction court. So I think we need between here and here, we're going to have some steps like, hey, this is what it is. Obviously you're not paying the rent. You have to move. They have to move as a landlord. They have to move, but you don't necessarily want to kick them out on the street either. So we've got to have some dialogue in between to settle those disputes.
Okay. Let's see, what strategies would you implement to handle school truancy cases, balancing legal requirements with the need for student intervention? So
I should address this one as someone probably about 50 years ago. I may have skipped a lot of school. No, I'm kidding. So it's a double-edged sword. Right now, the school districts needs the numbers in the seats or they don't get money.
Right.
I kind of understand that. But at the same time, I think you need to have a transparency to where the kids and their parents need to be held accountable to get the kids to school or get them out of school. If you're not going to make them go to school, maybe we need to find some alternatives. And I think also the kids that do go to school and that skip and that are problem children, instead of just, having them do detention or, things like that, let's wash buses. Let's do things like that. Let's pick up on campuses, but keep them at school, but just make them work for it.
Okay. Yeah, because in the school system, they have DAEP, they got the regular school, they got OSS, they got ISS, and then some kids just won't go.
I've met with our superintendent already and just talked to him a little bit about, what he wants from a JP. And we addressed the issue, and knock on wood, he was telling me that truancy isn't a huge problem right now in Salado. And I know in Killeen they have a truancy court. I mean, they have their own court for it, which alleviates a lot of the problems on the JP offices.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Matter of fact, she's running for a JP spot. The person who handles the truancy court now.
Oh. You don't need to mention her name.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll tell you after.
Yeah, I think I know who it is.
Okay.
Let's see. And how do you approach the responsibility of issuing search and arrest warrants in setting bail in criminal cases?
So this is key. There's so much that could go wrong in a search. I've done searches, so there's ways the search warrants are written. I think you need to have a good working relationship with the departments that are going to come to you to ask for those, to ask for you to sign off on those. And I think they need to be read clearly and to make sure that whatever the fruits of this search are going to be admissible, and you do everything completely by the book. And I think that starts with being open to working with the departments and working hand in hand with them. But you don't want to mess that up.
Yeah, because you have cases thrown out.
Yeah, and it's great and
waste of money and time.
That's right.
On the defendant and the prosecution.
Yeah. So I think that's very important.
And so as the JP is responsible for death inquests, which I would hate to do, how will you manage this sensitive duty in a timely and respectful manner?
This touches me very close to home right now because I've recently been at an accident where someone lost their life, and I had to be that person to tell their next of kin who was running up to the scene. And I can tell you that those things need to be done with dignity. And even the inquest, understand inquests have to be done because, sometimes it's just not cut and dry. There's underlying factors, and those things take some time. And I think being there with the survivors and showing them that dignity goes a long way, and it needs to be done so respectfully because those people are hurting.
Yeah, and most people that know me, I hate to say it, but I'm like a hardened combat soldier, but when someone gets hurt, I melt.
Yeah.
So I'd probably be bawling my eyes out trying to make notifications and so on.
Well, that's because you can handle it. You can handle it. You've been hardened when it affects you, but when it affects, you see someone's kid crying, and they, that's hard. But it needs to be done with dignity.
Yeah, man, my hat's off to y'all. That's the one part.
That's probably the worst part of the job.
Yeah, I think that's the worst part of the entire job. Yeah. Bill Price told us a few weeks ago. I don't know if you know Bill Price. He said, "Man, nothing like getting woke up at 2:30 in the morning." Yeah. And we don't have a medical examiner here in Coryell County, so he's got.
We don't in Bell County either.
Yeah, maybe they need to. Well, that'd be something between you and Judge Blackburn.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, at least we know some stuff, right?
Right.
Yeah. Let's see. Next is, how do you plan to reduce the backlog and ensure swift, efficient justice in your precinct?
Well, in our precinct, I'm not sure about how big of a backlog we have right now. It's not as hard as it is probably in Killeen or even in Temple for that matter. But they have two JPs working both
in
those.
3 and 4.
Right. And so I think really just finding efficiencies. And also, there's other things which we talked about, and, we'd have to get buy-in, and first I'd have to get elected for it to happen. But, if people can't, sometimes it's hard for people to get to court 9 to 5. Maybe having a night where we could do, after hours court or something like that, and just moving a shift back, or maybe doing it on Saturday, or if it's a truancy court, I'd love doing that on a Saturday. Because that's when the kids should be. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You want to skip school? Okay, let's spend your day in court. See how you like that. But I'm just saying that I think there's ways to do that. And I think one of those ways might be to extend hours and to make sure that everyone understands the need to get to court. And if you can, there's a definite need for communication.
Yeah. I used to watch a TV show, Night Court.
I love that show.
Yeah, that was awesome. I'm sad that they canceled it again.
Yeah. Well, the old one, Harry. He was the best.
Oh, goodness, yes. Oh, yeah. And I can watch that all the time. Yeah. Makes me want to be a lawyer and a judge. Okay, so I don't know why we're talking about that right now. Let's see. How would you collaborate with local law enforcement and mental health professionals to handle cases involving mental health issues? Well,
that's pretty important because. A lot of times when you see people who might be criminal probably just need more help then they need to be incarcerated a lot of times. And we have services within this county or within Bell County that we could get mental health involved, and we need to do that more. And because sometimes it's not a criminal matter, it's a mental matter, it's our health matter, and we need to, especially in this area, because we have been involved in a lot of wars lately, and there's some people that struggle with that have come back and struggle with that, and I get it. I know that's affected my family, and it affects a lot of families. So we need to make sure that those people aren't treated as criminals, but because that's a health concern. And I think working with other agencies, and certainly the health services in the county that you're in, is going to help a lot of that.
Okay. So given the high stakes local nature of this office, what steps will you take to ensure public trust in the integrity of your court?
Well, honestly, just doing what we do. I mean, it's you need to be visible in the community, and people need to know you. I mean, I again, we've had a business on Main Street for the last most of the last 10 years, and being out and being visible in the community, and the things we do with church and the things we do with our business groups and things like that, being visible and held accountable. And I think the way you build trust with that is, I don't want anyone slandering me. I make sure to put my best, and I was raised a certain way. My parents were, integrity was a key word, and I know back when I used to help do the hiring at Travis County, that's one word I always say, well, okay, what is law enforcement to you guys? And the people who wrote integrity got it. That was the word. But so I think just being out there in the community and pushing forth your persona and what you do and how you want to serve, I think that's going to build trust with the community.
Do you? I think you alluded to it earlier. Are you a former law enforcement officer?
I am. I work for the Travis County Sheriff's Office, which is basically the Austin area down there. Okay. And for 3 different times, I left and came back, left and came back, and left and came back and left. And because I enjoyed the work, it's just the different times of your, there's a season to do everything. And I would never consider going back into that field right now, because my season obviously is not spring or summer. My season is probably, I'm in a fall season, and that's a young man's game, I always said. Don't get me wrong, there's some good people that have been doing it a long time, but they're not necessarily out there, they're out there every day and they're really good at it, and you need those people to help the younger people getting into it. So, so I did it, and I had a great time doing it. I really loved that. I loved working for the sheriff's office. I really did.
Will you vote for the eventual nominee if it's not you?
Is this a conservative podcast?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely, unequivocally, without a doubt. I mean, and I tell people this all the time, and this is why I told you it matters in Bell County where we live. Because people who are conservatives, we got to take a stand right now. We got to dig in our feet right now, because we have a way of life that we like and that we think is a good way of life, and this is the way of life we want to bring up our kids in and our grandkids. And that's constantly being threatened by I left Austin for a reason, but it seems like it's following me. It's coming up here, and things are coming from all different areas. And as conservatives, we need to dig our feet in and stand our ground. And I'm going to vote for the.
Well, you're at that line where someone can end up making more mistakes in their life or improve on their mistakes, and you can show them how to better themselves on the conservative way.
Right.
So they'll be a better American.
Yeah.
And you don't want to set someone up for failure so they'll go to prison and stuff like that. You want them to be a model citizen after you're done with them. You don't want to hurt them. You just want them to learn their lesson.
That's right. And not only that, but I don't want to give anyone any dirt, but I wasn't always the person that I am today. I think none of us are. Yeah. But there was a time growing up to where someone had every right to kick me in the britches. But instead, they worked me up and held me up and held me accountable. And people like that is the people that we need in offices. Someone that's not going to necessarily always kick you in the britches. You might need it sometimes, but most of the time you might just need hey, why don't you get your stuff together?
In the Army, you call that a swift kick in your fourth point of contact.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. But sometimes I think that's a hand extended that way is a lot better than a hand extended this way.
Yeah,
So.
sure. Yes, sir. So why, this is where you get to sell yourself.
Oh, good.
So why do you want to be a justice of the peace?
Well, I'm a firm believer in service. I look at, I always think that, Jesus was the original servant leader. We all need to strive to be like that. There, we have given, stuff back to the community. We've given back to the community for years as a business. And we're at a point in our lives, and I told you this earlier, we're at a point in our lives where we don't have any kids at home, and I'm too young for my kids to put me in a home. I'm in a perfect sweet spot to where there's not a lot of things tying me down, because the justice of the peace is 24/7, 365 days a year. And we're at that point in life, I have that kind of time, and I want to serve. And we're very fortunate in Bell County Precinct 2. We have people who want to do this job, and I think all 4 of them are qualified in different ways. I think I'm qualified the best because of my all-around experience, but we're blessed. It's an embarrassment of riches, but I want to do the job to serve the people, and that's what I do. I have a servant heart, and I want to lend it.
Okay. And like you were saying earlier about being in the community and stuff, you want to be out there so people know you and not fear you. It's like, hey, that's Buddy. He's a justice of the peace.
Yeah, right.
And you be friends.
Right.
Yeah.
And, I've had one of the things that one of the things I was doing this last year is with certain sports teams, we go up and we pray with them before games and do stuff like that. So it's nice that those kids recognize it, because there's good kids. Don't get me wrong, there's bad kids, but there's good kids too. And I think the future is definitely looking bright for Bell County. I really do, because of the interactions that I've had with with the kids. They're not children. I think children are smaller. With the kids, I think we're looking pretty sharp for the future in Bell County.
That's good. You want to give your closing statement real quick?
Yes. My name is Buddy Schwab. I'm running for Bell County Precinct 2, Justice of the Peace. I'd appreciate your time and your vote. Thanks.
All right. Thank you very much.
Hey, thanks. I appreciate it.
Don't go anywhere. Let me sign off.
I'm not going anywhere.
All right. Thank you all for tuning in to the JP8 Report. We're talking with Buddy Schwab. If you're not already a follower, I like to say this all the time, please click that follow button, and it's free. All right. And give us a like, and then share out this podcast. And thank you all for tuning in. And this is James Pierce with the JP8 Report. I'll catch you on the flip side. I'm out.